Hi guys, my name is Michaela and you're watching FunsizedStyle. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about one of the medical conditions that I have called obstructive sleep apnea. So if you'd like to learn more about what obstructive sleep apnea is and how it affects my life, then go ahead and keep watching this video and I hope you find it informative. You'll also notice in the main part of this video, the intro and the outro is the only part that I'm wearing makeup. It's because I was putting on the equipment for you guys and like showing you what it's like to wear it. And the equipment and the face gear, which you'll see in this video, it has to be completely kept clean and sterile, so that's why I wasn't wearing makeup in that portion of the video. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about what obstructive sleep apnea is, and then I'll mention the other parts or the other types of sleep apnea, and then I'll go into my experience, and then I will also go into the equipment, because I know that's what most people are curious about and have questions about and how I deal with it and that kind of thing. I'll go ahead and read you the definition. So, obstructive sleep apnea is intermittent airflow blockage during sleep. And what that means is, due to the anatomy of like my neck and everything, when I sleep I have, there's like a blockage that happens, like my throat closes up. It could be like certain positions, it could be just my anatomy, like I said. My throat closes up and I lose airflow. So I don't completely stop breathing, at least me personally, I don't. Then I'll show you guys in a second when we get into the equipment. But I personally don't completely stop breathing, but I've had obstructive sleep apnea since I was about 5 or 6 years old. My parents noticed that like I would make these weird sounds when I sleep and like just struggle to get air. I had numerous sleep studies, and so in order to get diagnosed with sleep apnea, you have to have what's called a sleep study, and it's where they hook you up to a bunch of wires and monitors to your brain and to your heart and your all kinds of different things. And they monitor your sleep throughout the whole night. It's so uncomfortable. It's so difficult to sleep. I don't honestly know how they get an accurate reading because it's the most uncomfortable night's sleep of your life. But luckily, it's only one night. Well, it's supposed to only be one night. I can't tell you my symptoms or anything that I felt because I was just too young. But usually, most people only need one sleep study in order to get diagnosed, and it's pretty easily found. But we don't know if it's... There's a few theories as to why it took so many sleep studies for me. Because of my size and my age, because even at 5 or 6 years old, I was obviously so much smaller than the average 5 or 6 year old. But certain sleep labs don't have the proper setting to measure one's sleep if they have like different physical, physical shape, I guess. Like I'm so tiny, so my breathing is a lot different, my size is a lot different, and all these things go into your... I'm terrible at explaining this, and I wish I had like a professional with me to help explain it, but because of my size, it was extremely difficult to... I guess after 9 sleep studies, we discovered when I started going to the University of Michigan, they explained to us that the previous sleep labs didn't have the right measurements for me based on my size. That's the best way I can describe it. They didn't have the right measurements based on my size. They explained to us, spoiler alert, I finally got diagnosed like by test after several years. I'm not really sure the exact year. I even went to Washington, D.C. and had a sleep study at the NIH, and they couldn't even measure it right. I had 9 sleep studies. I know I said that so many times, but like, that's literally so many and not necessary. And why the other sleep labs told us they couldn't measure properly before I had them, I don't know, maybe they don't even realize it. Before I got diagnosed, because they never measured it, like we just knew I stopped breathing, and so my doctor prescribed oxygen and stuff at night because you can't get an actual CPAP, BiPAP, or this is a trilogy until you like the sleep study lab papers show that you have sleep apnea. I believe that's how it works. I'm not really sure. We knew that I would use oxygen at night. This machine here, I don't use any oxygen, which I'll get into later. Several years down the line, when I had H1N1, I did an entire video about my experience with the H1N1 swine flu, but I had H1N1, and after I had battled that and gotten through that, they said before you leave this hospital, you have to start using your BiPAP. I did because I wanted to get out of there. I was inpatient for almost 2 months. I wanted to get out of there. I started using it, and that's when we discovered there's like different masks and things like that. Because the only one that I had ever tried when I finally got diagnosed was like the full face mask, and that terrified me. I hated it. Like, I felt like I was suffocating myself. They showed us these masks called a nasal pillow, and I'll get more into the equipment in a minute. I started using it. It was really hard to get used to. At first, I'm not going to lie, it was really hard to get used to, but now I absolutely love it, and the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because this machine right here is what qualified me to attend this camp. And the Trails Edge camp that I talk about all the time is a camp for children who use ventilator, who are ventilator dependent, CPAP or BiPAP dependent at any moment throughout the day or night. And so this is what qualified me to be able to go. And those people at that camp and what that camp gave me changed my life forever. And it's because of my sleep apnea that I was able to go. You know, most people think of it as like another diagnosis on top of your OI. And I'm like, no, like this is one of my favorite diagnoses because it led to the best thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. And that says a lot. The people that I met through this camp is just absolutely amazing. In fact, I have traveled twice out of state now with two of my really close friends from the camp because they're nurses, and you know, they're the perfect people for me to be able to travel with independently, and they're like some of my best friends. So how fun is that? That they just happen to be medical savvy and be a nurse too, so that's just a bonus. The friendships and the independence that this camp has given me beyond that summer camp, like if I didn't go to this camp, like I literally don't know what my life would be like I would have no friends, wouldn't be able to have these awesome travel opportunities that I do. It's just because they were able to go with me. We have that close friendship is the coolest thing. So this is the thing that changed my life and changed it in the best way possible. People look at these machines, and they think it's really barbaric and like so scary, and it's really not, because for me, so if you're a medical person watching this, you will see this. This is a ventilator, but I don't use it as a ventilator. I use it as BiPAP, but because I am so small, the settings that I need don't go low enough. I originally started out on BiPAP, which I'll put a picture of here since I don't have it anymore. So I originally started out on BiPAP, but then when I would go to my pulmonary clinic, they would like test my CO2 levels, and I'm not really sure what that measures. If I can find it, I will look at here, like what that means, but my levels started getting kind of high. Again, I'm not sure what it means, but apparently it's bad if your levels get high. And mine wasn't like dangerously high or anything, but they were higher than they would like, and then like every time I would go, they'd get a little bit higher. So they switched me to this device, which is, it's considered a ventilator, but it's technically a trilogy. I don't use it as a ventilator. This machine does not breathe for me. I'm able to breathe completely on my own. It just pushes air through this and keeps my airways open. But again, I breathe completely on my own. This has no oxygen. It's just room air. So I don't need supplemental oxygen anymore now that I have this, because that's literally all I need it for, is to keep my airways open. So I use oxygen instead of this for quite some time because we didn't know that there were other masks out there like this, and I just couldn't tolerate the full face mask. Like, had to use oxygen. That's because of how bad it was. And this little nose piece is so much more like less invasive, just so much better, a lot easier to get used to. It still took some time, but I absolutely love it now. I don't go to sleep without it. I can't. It's so much more easier to breathe. Even if I just want to lay in my bed and like hang out, I have this on. Not because I stop breathing when I'm awake. Like, obviously I don't. But it's just easier to breathe because of my anatomy and the shape of my rib cage and the capacity that my lungs have due to, again, my barrel rib cage and also my scoliosis. And again, I just love it because it makes breathing so much easier laying down. That's kind of my experience with sleep apnea. It's insane that it took 9 sleep studies for me to get diagnosed. Many people use different things. I use a trilogy, but there's CPAP, BiPAP. CPAP is where it continuously pushes air in you, like it doesn't stop. Where BiPAP, it breathes in when you breathe and it breathes out when you breathe out. It's more natural, and I just couldn't tolerate the CPAP. I just didn't like that continuous airflow. It just felt like I couldn't breathe on my own. It felt like I couldn't take my own breath. This is just a lot more natural. It really, I mean, it's up to your doctor. It's up to your doctor, I guess, but it really doesn't matter because they gave me the option. I'm not sure if it works that way. It must have not mattered for me because they let me pick what I felt was best, and I did not like that continuous airflow. It just felt like I had more control. That was really important to me, and it's a hard thing to get used to. I'm not going to kid you, and there's people that I know that have sleep apnea that, like, will not use it. They say that they know they have it, but, like, they refuse to ever use one of these gadgets, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give you medical advice, what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just telling you my experience. But I will tell you that, like, I'm glad I got diagnosed young because my parents didn't know, like, how I was breathing. It's really easy to not know you have it because if you, like, there's some people that snore that, like, don't have sleep apnea, but most people that snore have sleep apnea. There's other types of sleep apnea, so I will go into some of those types as well. I feel like this video is a little bit unorganized. I have organized it better, sorry. So there are 3 types of sleep apnea. There is central sleep apnea, there's obstructive sleep apnea, and there's mixed sleep apnea, which is both central sleep apnea and obstructive sleep apnea. Central sleep apnea is where your brain doesn't send proper signals to the muscles that control your breathing. I don't have that. There's nothing wrong with my brain. And then mixed is where there is some sort of blockage and your brain forgets to send the signals. I don't know of anyone that has both, I don't think. I'm not sure. I have obstructive, and it's very just easily treated. You just gotta wear one of these gizmos. There's many different face masks and styles and whatever you feel is most comfortable. Now I will tell you, again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not here to give you medical advice. I'm just saying what I've heard or been told. For people that have it, refuse to wear one, there's a lot of risk. It's not good to not breathe at night or breathe properly. It can cause, like, all different things. Like, sleep is essential. Your body has to sleep. When you don't get good sleep, that reflects a lot on your health. It can cause high blood pressure. It can cause fatigue. All these different things. I know there will always be people that say they will never do it, never wear it, never get tested. I get it. When I had H1N1 now, me having obstructive sleep apnea and H1N1 were obviously not related. But because I was in the hospital with H1N1 and my lungs were severely affected temporarily, I had to use this. It was that push. I didn't have a choice because at that time I was having a dire medical need. This is what they felt was best for me. That's what I did. But I promise you, it is possible to get used to. And even people who don't snore or they can still have it too, because just the most common thing, you wouldn't even believe it. Kids, adults, it's one of the most common medical conditions, I guess. It's really, really common. And especially if you sleep with your mouth open, because all the air that you bring in goes out your mouth and it's not going down your airway. If you sleep with your mouth open, you could very well have it. There's just so, even if you don't snore or you don't think you have it, I think everybody should get tested because it can really help your health in the long run. Because after I had it, I just never realized how many other people had it. It's the most common thing. But if I can endure all this medical stuff and get used to this, you can too. And it will really, really help you in your health, in your longevity of good health in the long run. There's just sleep apnea can just affect so much. And I'm not here to explain it all because I'm not a doctor, but I never realized how much it affects the human body if you don't address it and get one of these gizmos. For me personally, I don't wake up feeling refreshed because I wear it. If I'm being honest, some people do, but not everybody does. It doesn't mean it's not helpful or that it's not the right thing. It's just it doesn't affect you in that way. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this video is to just introduce this piece of equipment to you guys because it does look really barbaric and scary, and I kind of want to normalize this stuff and be it's not that scary, and it's okay, and I'm okay, and I'm used to it, and it's fine, and I love it. This trilogy is, since it's considered a ventilator, it's considered a life-saving device, so unlike BiPAP machine, you can buy it, it's yours, or your insurance can buy it for you. and it's yours. And with this, I have to rent. You cannot buy these machines. It's physically impossible to buy these machines because it's considered a life-saving device. So even though for me, I don't stop breathing completely, and because I can breathe on my own, and I'd be fine if something happened to it one night. Like, I would be fine. They have to come like every so many months, 3 months or 2 months, and check it, do these checks or whatever, and make sure that it's good. And it just really stinks that like you can't buy these because like the copay is insane. I got like a waiver program to where through the company that I rent this to, they have like a program for people. Since I don't have Medicaid or anything, I don't qualify for that. But since they have a program where like they have a program to like waive some of the copay fee, but it's like insane. It would cost me like $160 a month on top of like my deductible and all that. So like this is insanely expensive. It's not safe for me to use the other machine, BiPAP or CPAP, that you can just buy. So I have to. Like, I don't have a choice. So luckily, the insurance that covers everything related to my disability has paid for this and all the supplies and everything, but I lose that insurance in September. So that's why I got on that program for within the company that I go through to maintenance it. But I still will have to pay now for like extra supplies because you have to like replace the stuff. This is the Chinstrap, which I'll get into all that once I get into the equipment part of it. But this is the Chinstrap, and this is what's called the Headgear, and this is like the nasal pillow. And this green thing is, I'll get into all of this machinery and I'll try this on and show you guys what it's like and all that tubing and stuff. That has to all be replaced once in a great while, and that costs money. That's the only bummer, and the reason that they can get that amount of money from you for it is because they know you have to have it, and it's all about supply and demand, and just they know you have to have it. You don't have a choice. So that's why they can charge insane amounts of money for this. The retail price for this is like $10,000. The medical equipment world is insane, you guys. If you're not part of it, you have no idea, but if you are part of it, you get what I mean. Go ahead and kind of go into the equipment now, and I'll try this on and show you guys what it's like to use it. I just wanted to normalize it. It's not scary for me anymore. A really great piece of equipment that has really helped me in the long run. My lungs are doing better than they ever have. I'm just doing really, really well. So I'm really grateful for this device, and it makes it easier for me to breathe when I'm laying down and keeps me breathing when I'm sleeping. I'm glad that I was able to get used to this because I finally got a sleep study that showed that I had sleep apnea, because it's not good to use supplemental oxygen if you don't need to, because my problem isn't that I'm not able to oxygenate. It's because of my airway would close up that I wasn't able to get oxygen. So as long as I'm able to keep my airway open, I'm able to oxygenate myself. Oh, and then I also use a pulse ox machine over here. It's on this other shelf, which I'll show you guys, and also insert some footage. So part of sleep apnea is when your airway is blocked, your oxygen levels dip. That's what happens when you have sleep apnea. So not only does your airway get blocked or closed up, but your oxygen levels dip, and having low oxygen levels are not good. I have to wear this little monitor on my toe at night. I wear that pretty much every night. Some nights I don't. It's pretty rare. I usually wear it every night. I have this, and it's so reliable, but that measures my oxygen level and my heart rate. Anything for me above like 95 is good. 95 and 86, we like to see it higher, but like if it gets below 94 or lower, like we know I'm either getting sick or like something isn't right. With my heart rate, now I'll insert some footage. I'm not gonna like turn that on right now or anything because I just don't want to go through all that turning on right now, but I'll insert some footage I took on my phone last night when I was wearing it in bed. I was like kind of getting pretty tired, so my heart rate was like kind of going in like up and down a little bit because I was like just on the verge of falling asleep. But then I remembered I wanted to take that footage. So, like during the day, a normal heart rate for me is like 120, 125 right now. For normal people, that would be really high. But for me, that's like really good. So you can see this better from my Apple Watch, and I'll put it in the video. But the theories behind that is because of my lung capacity and my barrel rib cage, I have to take more breaths to compensate, and I don't even notice it. Like, it just feels normal for me. I breathe really fast. I breathe as if I'm always working out. That's why my heart has to work faster in order to compensate. So that's why my heart rate is high. But at night it goes into like the 90s, high 80s. At night it's more normal, but you'll see it's a little bit high. So don't worry, that's completely good for me. I guess I'll go into the equipment now. And then I asked you guys with some questions on Instagram. If you had any questions about it, about my experience with sleep apnea, I'll go ahead and answer those after I show you guys the equipment. So I'm going to go ahead and try this on and show you what it looks like on and explain how that works. And then I'm going to switch over to another camera, my vlog camera, to show you guys the machine since it's like faced this way. This is my headgear. Blue part is called the headgear. This is the Chinstrap because when I get into a really deep sleep, my mouth goes open, but for some reason it's only when I'm in a deep sleep. Because of that, this helps keep my chin up and then my mouth closed when I get into that deep sleep, because if my mouth is open and the air is going through here, then it will just go down my nose, out my mouth, and not going in my airways, keeping it open. So that's why I have this. Not everybody that wears one of these needs one. It's just to be sleep with your mouth open, but most people do at some point in the night. Mine is when I get into a deep sleep. And then this is the actual mask. The kind that I have is called nasal pillow. It's the only kind I can tolerate. It's very not invasive and it's easier to talk with that on too. And then this is the tubing. Into the tubing in a minute. Then you also notice this humidifier that I have. I actually don't turn it on. It just kind of blows by. If I turn it on, it gets too liquidy in the nasal part right here. So that's why I don't have it on. And then I have to put distilled water in it, in that humidifier. It's tubing here and then connects to the Trilogy, which I'll show you guys more up close. Just enough moisture to keep my lungs not dried out, because if I don't have it blow by, if I don't have it plugged in, then my lungs dry out and I will wake up coughing until I vomit. I have to have that. So easy to put on. And again, you might think this is crazy that I'm showing you this on the internet. But I want to normalize this stuff and be like, hey, I'm just your average gal and I have to use this stuff. Have it on, I kind of talk funny because I have something over my nose. Here is my setup. This is the Trilogy or ventilator, and then this is the humidifier that just blows by, and then I fill it with distilled water. This is the machine and it's by the Philips brand. This is the filter, and then this helps filter out all the dirt and dust and everything and keeps everything clean and sterile that's going into my lungs. And then again, here's that tubing. Both of these connect to the humidifier. It's pretty, I don't know, it's just pretty straightforward, not all that scary. And then this is my pulse ox machine. All I have to do is press that power button and they already have it set to the settings. So if oxygen levels dip too low, it will alarm. This is my least favorite part. This is a little toe probe. My mom usually helps me put this on because it's really, really challenging to wrap this around my toe because you have to do it a certain way or it will not stick. So this is not the proper way that you put it on, but if you don't put a new one on, it won't stick and then it will alarm all night. That's the monitor and everything. It's just a little tape. So here's what it looks like when you turn it on. This goes on and I don't know what any of this stuff means. All these settings I do not know, but it just measures everything. So, and then to turn it off, just press this button and then it'll say yes and turn it off. My big thing with filming this is to just normalize everything and show you guys because I'm going to be filming a room to where people are going to see this equipment, feel bad for me and be like, oh my gosh, what is all that stuff? In reality, for me, it's a matter of turning it on and turning it off. All the settings are set. I don't have to worry about me stopping breathing. I'm able to oxygenate myself. It's just not as bad as it looks, you guys. And I'm really grateful for this equipment that keeps me breathing well and it keeps my lungs happy. And I think that it plays a big role in how my lungs have been able to stay stable despite my massive amount of scoliosis. I guess that's all for the equipment part of this video. And now we'll go ahead and switch back to the other camera and I'll answer some of your questions that you guys asked about my experience with sleep apnea. So there really wasn't that many questions. There were only 2 that you guys sent in, but I'll go ahead and talk about them. So The first one is, have you ever had your tonsils removed to help? I used to have sleep apnea and I had them removed. I have actually. I think tonsils are the ones that grow back. So I actually had my tonsils removed twice. My tonsils were first removed when I was 5 years old. And it helped a little bit, but not very much. I still had the blockage due to my anatomy with my osteogenesis imperfecta. I did have my tonsils removed, and then I also had my adenoids removed. I really don't have much left in there, but I did get those removed. But for me, and specifically, I still had the sleep apnea, but it was better. But it did help open everything up because my tonsils were they were so big. So the next one is, I get woken up from my sleep, sometimes feeling breathless and having a dry throat. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not here to give you medical advice, but one thing to bring up to your doctor would be sleep apnea, because waking up and feeling out of breath is definitely not normal. Sleep apnea could definitely be a cause. People don't think it's a big deal, but I've actually learned a lot about it from other friends' experiences and what happened when they didn't use it. It affects your life a lot, so it's definitely something to look into. But again, I'm not a doctor, but you could possibly have sleep apnea. But someone said, I have type 3 OI as well. Would like to know how to know if one has apnea. What are the symptoms? Other than sleep, does the apnea affect you in your day-to-day life? No, it does not affect me on day-to-day life. It's just a sleeping thing. My airway just closes up because of the position of my neck, and just closes up at night when I'm laying down sleeping. But even when I'm laying down awake, it doesn't close up. It's only when I sleep, but it has no effect on me day to day. It would have effect on me day to day and it would have effect on anybody day to day if they didn't get it addressed, because it does have such a massive effect on your health. So there's three areas that it affects symptom-wise. So sleep, respiratory, and then other things. So excessive daytime sleepiness, insomnia, nightmares, sleep deprivation or snoring, breathing through the mouth, episodes of no breathing or loud breathing. For me, it was loud breathing. Also common miscellaneous, depression, dry mouth, dry throat, fatigue, headache, irritability, mood swings, or weight gain. It has a huge effect on your health. I know I keep saying that, but I just wish more people would get tested for this, because even if they think they don't have it. So I feel like almost everybody has sleep apnea somehow. I do. I think it's so common. I keep saying that, but it's something that really bothers me when people don't think about it. It sounds like the previous person that asked me that has a lot of these symptoms, but again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not here to diagnose you. Those are some of the symptoms of sleep apnea, like you're asked. Also, sleep apnea is very, very common in people with osteogenesis imperfecta, just because of our anatomy. There's a lot of people with OI that's never gotten tested, I think, but most of us do have it, again, because of our anatomy, and it's most common in type 3 and 4. I don't know much about the other types. I recommend you guys get tested. It's really easy. The test is really annoying. It's really hard to sleep. Most of you guys are average height, I would imagine. It's really easy, to diagnose it. It would help you in the long run, and everybody would just be in a better mood if they got good sleep. And breathing is just so important. And it's something you don't even realize. You don't. So, even if your kids, if they have, sleep with their mouth open, just get them, have a family sleep study. But anyways, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose you guys. But those were some of my not tips and tricks, but experience with obstructive sleep apnea. This is something that once you have it for the rest of your life. I will be using this machine for the rest of my life. But it is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm going to be doing a video also about the summer camps that I went to. I volunteer at. See why obstructive sleep apnea is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm not sad about it. I'm not mad about it. It's truly the best thing that God has ever given me, because it's led to the greatest opportunities. So that is it for today's video. I know it was a little bit different in terms of format, editing style, all of that, but I figured this would be kind of the best way to share everything and all of that. So I hope you found this video informative. Again, this is just my experience. Everybody's experience may be a little bit different, but I hope you found it informative. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that this video helped normalize the world of sleep apnea, and I Again, I hope you found this video helpful. I'll catch you guys in my next video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!